All right. Well, today I'm excited to talk to Ann Siverling about being an oblate. So, Ann, tell us, how long have you been an oblate?
This June, it'll be 10 years. I did my final ablation in June of 2014.
Awesome. What led you to choose to be connected to St. Paul's Monastery?
Well, at the time I became an oblate, I was a pastor, and I was pretty good at that point at taking care of myself and going on retreats and days of quiet to kind of refuel my tank. And I had been down to the monastery in Rock Island, which is also a Benedictine monastery, because a friend lived near there. And then another time I wanted to be up by Lake Superior, so I went and stayed at St. Scholastica. And it was there that I was introduced to the concept of being an oblate. And I thought about it, but at that time I lived in Rochester and it was just too far away. So I came to St. Paul's Monastery for some retreat or workshop. I don't even remember what it was. And when I walked in the door, I was greeted by some of the sisters as if they knew me. And I was so stunned by it, I actually did turn around and look to see who was behind me because I thought they were talking to someone else. But they weren't, they were talking to me. And I felt so welcomed and so kind of like I was coming home to a home I didn't know. And then I began the process of applying. I interviewed with Sister Paula
Mm.
and did my year of ablation. And it fulfilled a couple needs for me. Um, as a pastor, I was busy nurturing everyone else spiritually and sometimes kind of missing the mark myself in spite of efforts. And also feeling like I needed my own faith community of which to be a part. And I've discovered that completely at St. Paul's Monastery. It's been really, in some sense, my faith community ever since.
Mm. Beautiful. So, tell us a little, Ann, about what drew you to study Benedictine spirituality and the rule of Benedict through oblate formation.
So that time when I was up in Duluth at St. Scholastica, my sister, who was kind of hanging around with me while I was there, said, "You need to read the rule." And so she gave me a book, and I started reading it, and I was absolutely stunned by the amount of scripture that was in the rule. It's you can hardly read a sentence without running into a piece of scripture. And I loved that. I loved its deep, deep roots into the scripture. And again, it fit with what spirituality I already had. It was like coming home again to a spirituality that was home that I didn't realize. And I loved the amount of grace I found in the rule. I chuckled when I read for the part about having guests at the monastery, and that two choices of what you eat should always be available. And I'm like, wow, that's really generous. And then there's a part in the rule about how much alcohol is appropriate for a day. And I thought what they thought of everything and just found it kind of life-giving and almost lighthearted in a way, some of those things. And such there's such a deep compassion in what Benedict wrote about caring and for the people in his community, and that idea of grace that we're always going to err on that part um, of showing grace when possible. So.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you've been reading the rule for 10 years. So I love that though. You need to read the rule.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. So you're one of our facilitators, and in our year of initial oblate formation, and you've done an evening a couple times on Benedictine spirituality. So why do you think that topic in particular is important for our future oblates?
You know, the spirituality is the core of being Benedictine and even of the rule. Spirituality is based a lot on the values, and um, I have fallen in love with that. The value of hospitality. Number one, because it was shown to me so profoundly when I showed up there. But I remember a time when I was in seminary and I was a full-time student and working and being a single mom. And at three different times while I was in seminary, I had someone in need come and live with us. And so somebody said to me once, "Wow, you have such a gift of hospitality." And so when I arrived at the monastery, at St. Paul's Monastery, here I was being shown that gift. And once again, it was like, this is who I am. I fit with this. And so I think in all of those values on which the spirituality is based, I think we can find all of ourselves in there somewhere, um, whether it's the hospitality or something else. But um, it's the spirituality is so deeply woven into the action of the Benedictine rule and of like the sisters at St. Paul's Monastery, that without it, we'd be missing a big chunk. It could seem just like the rule could be like a book of rules that you have to follow, but the spirituality sort of undergirds the entire thing. And I find that just really beautiful and life-giving and just gorgeous reflection, I think, of who God is to us and then how we see Christ in others. So
Mhm.
I love that part.
Yeah, great. Well, and my final question, Anne, is there anything else you'd like to say to us about being an oblate at St. Paul's Monastery with St. Paul's Monastery?
Well, I can say for sure that it was the best decision I ever made to become part of this. And in it, I have found tremendous community with the sisters, but also with other oblates and other people I have met just along the way. I volunteer at the reception desk, and I have met so many people that have had an impact on my life. And I think one of the things I am striving to do um, more and more is to be living out that rule, whatever that means, with family, with friends, with serving others, serving our world, taking care of our world, serving the sisters in any way I can. So it's also a real life of service, but it's like it's an easy life of service if you're living the rule and have that spirituality. So, and also just many people can be oblates, so never be afraid about inviting someone to do it. It's this beautiful way of being together and of having a faith-filled life together.
Yeah. Well, Anne, I'm grateful to do this oblate life with you. So thanks for your time today and all the insights that you offered.
Well, thank you. You're very welcome.